The Settlers' New Allies is finally out. Let's acknowledge that the game had a lot of negative feedback during betas, trailers, many delays and drama. But what about the final version? This final version, which was now released on the 17th of February 2023. Is that a good successor for the series? Is it an RTS or a city builder? But more importantly, is the game actually worth it? Was it worth the wait? And is it worth its price tag? Because if you don't have Ubisoft Plus, you're going to have to pay 60 euros for the standard edition, 80 euros for the deluxe edition. What do you get with the deluxe pack? Well, you get an artbook, digital artbook, and the soundtrack. And on top of that, you basically get some visuals. You know, it's changing the visuals of your towers, of some of your soldiers, but there's not really gameplay impact. So at that price, we are expecting a great game. So let's start with the good. We have two modes to play with. We have a full campaign with a story, and we have a skirmish mode, where you can play both alone and versus other players online. You have also different options like 1v1, 2v2, 4v4, again as I said PvP or casual, and an hardcore mode, which is what I would call a challenge mode, right? You get a challenge, for example this one, get and keep 200 military units. To win this challenge you just need to do that. This one, defeat the enemy. This one, protect the warehouse, and there's a high difficulty, so we're probably, starting with a lot less resources, or the enemy has a lot more people, and there's many enemies, right? It seems we are 1 versus 3. So that's good, if you're looking for a campaign, you have that. If you're looking for skirmish, you have that, and you have a few different types of skirmishes. The second thing, which in my opinion is really good, is the game look incredibly good. Yes, we are in 2023, where to be honest, most of the game do look good, but they definitely did a great job with this one. You can zoom in and you see quite a lot of details. Also the animations, right? There's a lot of animation in each of your production buildings, which are really cool, right? They're well done, and they're also a bit in this settler spirit of not taking themselves too seriously, but still, realistic. You see your people dropping the resources, right? Picking up the resources. So all those animation, here it's the bread. All those animation are, in my opinion, really well done. And similarly, the sound, both of the game, but also inside the game. Like, for example, when your soldiers go into battle, they may say something like, "Oh, my body hurts." It's those type of things from old city builders that we really like. Unfortunately, this is where the good ends for me. For example, we just mentioned that there was a campaign and skirmishes, but these are so limited. In the campaign, for example, there is no difficulty level. There's only one difficulty level. Also in this campaign, you can't even choose to replay a specific mission. You just go through the campaign in the order and that's it. Similarly, on the skirmish side, you can even choose your map. And yes, we have V1 versus 1 or 2 versus 2, but we cannot even do 1 versus 2, 1 versus 3, 1 versus 4 on demand. And lastly, this hardcore type, which I call challenges, this is a good idea. I like that you have, sort of the same map, for example, but with a specific objective, or starting in a situation where maybe you have nothing and the AI is stronger. But in my opinion, they once again a bit messed it up. First of all, you can only do 3 per week to force you to pay if you want to do more. And 2, they feel very random to me. It's not as if there's like 20 challenges and you get a gold medal if you finish all of the challenges. No, it's just every week you're gonna get 3 and just do the 3 and that's it. So for me, instead of being a real challenge where some of them may be easy, but some of them may be very difficult, it will take me a few times to get it right, but then I will get the joy of having done them all. Now it's more just a gimmick, it's trying to make me play a few every week, trying to maybe make me pay to play more. Then going back to my first point of no difficulty level. Frankly, the campaign is boring. It is quite long. I think it took me more than 20 hours to finish it completely, but it was 20 hours where constantly I just wanted to get the game to go faster, right? I was just waiting for things to happen. And the difficulty is also quite low because in most of these missions, you can just wait inside your base, develop your base as much as you want before you attack the enemy. They're not attacking you. They never attack you. And therefore, for me, there's no challenge because you can take all the time in the world, right? I can build the biggest army. I can build 500 soldiers and then attack them. And of course, they will not survive against 500. Now, let's discuss if it's an RTS or a city building. There is, of course, a number of buildings. You can see over here, for example, I'm going to cut trees to get logs, transform those logs into lumber. Then a quarry to get some stones, residence to get some people. We have some roads. We have a number of food buildings to get, for example, bread or meat or grapes. We have different mines, the coal mines, the iron mine. All of these will go into a furnace to make some steel, and the steel is going to be transformed into weapons. We have gold. Then we have a couple of sort of settlement buildings, like making some tools, using those tools to create engineers, an harbor to trade, a warehouse to stock our resources, coachmaker to transport more resources easily, and finally a couple of military buildings. The training ground, shady tavern and shrine for different units, the academy for research, and then 2 towers, an offensive one, a defensive one, the decoy, which is basically a bit of a wall. It creates a line of defense if you wish. So these are all of the buildings in the game. It's not that many, it's not 5 buildings either, right? So there is a city building aspect. But is it a city builder? In my opinion, no. It is not a city builder because the production chains are super simple. I mean, the most complex one is the weapon one, where you need to have coal and iron to make steel, and then coal and steel to make the weapon, but that's it. That's by far the most complex. Most of the things are just producing directly. For example, to make donkeys or meat, you just need 2 buildings. You need a farm that's going to make the wheat, and then the ranch. And that's it. You have donkeys and meat. The second reason why it's not a city builder for me is because all of the food is not required. For example, over here in my logging camp, if I give some fish, they're going to produce more wood per minute. But I don't need any food for my population. That's not how a city builder works, I'm sorry. Don't get me wrong, I like the idea of boosters, right? Of providing different resources. Usually it's more kind of luxury resources to increase my productivity. But I don't think it should be basic food. I think population should need basic food. But if it's not a good city builder, is it a good RTS? In my opinion, no. I think out there we have a lot better RTS. There's a couple of things. First, I found the pathfinding of a soldiers terrible. When you ask them to change, direction, they will take forever, especially when they're enemies. They seem to be completely lost. There's very little elements of formations, different powers. A few of your soldiers will have some powers, but very few of them. There's not that many types of soldiers. And then last element I wanted to mention before concluding is I've actually had a couple of game crashes. You can see on my YouTube page, the specs of my computer. It's definitely a good computer, not the best computer out there, but a good computer, which really rarely crashes, even on newer games like Hogwarts Legacy. But in this game, I've definitely already have several crashes since launch. So all in all, in my humble opinion, it's way too shallow to be a great city builder. It feels like they've made the city building aspect way too simple because they were trying to transform it more into an RTS, but I don't think it's actually real competition for the RTS out there. In particular, if you think about all of the Age of Empires, the remastered version or the new ones, they're way better, way more factions, way more options, way more, RTS elements, and they do that for way cheaper. So at this current full price of 60 euros, no, it's definitely not worth it for me, which I guess sort of also means it wasn't really worth the wait, even if I will say I am always for a game to take longer and be great rather than for the game to come out, on the date they promised or rushed. All right, so I definitely support all developers teams that are pushing games to finish them to where they want to get them, to finish them to be great. Unfortunately, I guess on this one, they sort of missed the mark on both. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Have you bought the game? Do you agree? Do you disagree? If there are other points that I missed? If there are also other games that you want specific reviews on, I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you do want to see more, I have started to post the full campaign on my channel, and I will finish it even if it's boring, just to be able to show it to you from start to finish. So don't hesitate to check in the video description below if you want to see that. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.